What's up?
What's going on?
Billy in the house.
What's poppin'? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. How about you?
I'm alright, man. Tough day, but I feel good.
Tough day, what? Training people?
Yeah.
What's going on, people? Giving you a hard time?
No, I wasn't really that. I worked out myself, so I'm a little burnt. But I'm alright now.
How often do you still like spar?
I just sparred Monday.
And how many rounds?
13.
God damn.
It was with two youngins and one old head.
Were you going easy with the youngins?
Yeah, I ain't gonna try to beat the shit out of them. I was just trying to get the rounds, you feel me?
Yeah. So are you gonna fight again?
I might.
I was like that too. I was like that until I was about, I want to say 35. I kept being like leaving that door open.
Yeah.
You,
Hell
you
yeah.
know how it is. It's hard to. It's like crack. It just be calling you.
Real shit.
Oh shit. Yeah, man. So I know we talked about the Spence and Crawford fight, but like I don't know about you, but I've been like going back and forth,
Yeah.
back and forth. I mean, what? Remind me now. Who did you have winning?
I got Bud winning. 7th round, stoppage.
That's right, stoppage.
Yeah.
And what exactly makes you? What about Bud or about Errol makes you think that?
It's just that I think they both great fighters. Nothing to take away from Errol Spence. I think they both great fighters. I think Errol Spence is a very dominant force, you know what I mean, in the game at his weight class. But I just think, you know what I mean, we've never seen him really cracked upside his head against somebody who's going to try their best to really get him out of there and not respect him to the point where they're going to let him beat on him. You know what I'm saying? I think Errol Spence is going to win the first 4 rounds, but then Terence Crawford going to have to kick it up. But when he kick it up, I just see him hurting him. I don't know why. I could be dead wrong. I mean, but once I pick somebody, I pick them. And that's what I see, and I just got to stand on it. That's all. Win, lose, or draw.
Yeah, man. It's like I first wish I shared your opinion, about Bud. I gave Bud, but for me, I don't know. I don't think anybody's getting stopped in this fight. I don't see that.
Yeah.
But then as I'm looking at Errol and I'm watching, sparring clips and stuff, because I never really looked at him that deep. I just kind of, it's like, and the size difference that's apparently there, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even, have you met them in person?
I've seen Bud in person.
Okay. So like, it's so hard to like. When was the last time a fight has been this even that you could think of, like a mega fight has been this even?
Yeah, it's been a while for sure.
Like, what do you think it is? What?
I mean, we dealing with two great fighters. Even though Bud is a little older, he's not so much older. It's not like by 10 years or some shit. It's only by like 3 years, 3 or 4 years. And they both have been making easy work out of the competition. So it's like to see them against each other, that's kind of all we've been, you know what I mean, really looking to see.
Yeah, they had that's exactly right. They have made easy work. And then, looking at the opponents in common is kind of tricky because there's so many, like I don't really look at the opponents in common that much. Do you?
The reason I don't is because really it's going to come down to that night. But sometimes you can, sometimes you don't. It don't matter. I think this is a fight where it don't matter because we're talking about two confident fighters, two fighters who have reached that world-class level, and they know that they are the best, and they're going to prove to us why. You know what I mean? So I don't know. The competition level, it don't matter to me because we dealing with two experienced men. It's not like Ryan Garcia and Tank. Ryan Garcia's record was like, you could tell he was built up. And then Tank Jones was like, he built up, but it was some tests on there too. And I mean, it was some test fights for sure. So, you know what I mean? It's not like that.
No. This is the one thing that I struggle with is like who hits harder. Like, okay, so the majority of people right off the jump will say, well, Errol hits harder, but does he?
Right.
Does he?
Right. I don't know. Because and people always say, well, Bud didn't fight nobody. That's easy to say when you ain't in there.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
And the thing is, right, 47 is not his original weight class. So he's doing major damage at a weight class that's not really his. I think what it is he filled out pretty good at 47 because, he was young, making 30, 35 and shit like that. And as he got older, he filled out into the weight, which is how you're supposed to really handle your career. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the way he been finishing guys, you know what I mean? Just haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, like you just said, at 47, I mean, this is a known stat, but he's knocked everybody out, right, at 47. The Porter thing to me was pretty gangster because if you remember, I thought he was losing or was close, and then somebody told him mid his corner, like, yo, if somebody told him you're down,
Yeah,
and then he literally went out and just took care of business, like right there and then.
yeah.
That,
And that's what make him dangerous.
say again?
That's what makes him dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is, man. And then there's so many different things to look at, and it's so hard to like the defense is similar, the offense is similar. They're not similar to each other, but they're at the similar levels
Yeah,
of each other. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
The opposition. The only thing I look at is, Bud does have a relatively decent experience edge on him, right?
yeah,
10 more fights, something like
yeah,
that. 11 more fights, right? Bud has more knockouts than Errol has total fights.
yeah,
Just kind of a crazy stat.
yeah.
You think
I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, I was just saying. I think that's why this is an interesting fight because a lot of people is picking Earl, and I ain't mad at that. But it's like it's so many like, you know what I mean?
You know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing more fighters, former fighters like myself, current trainers like you, fighters like you. More people that did it are picking Bud, but more people who are fans are picking Spence.
Yeah. I mean, Spence. If you want to be honest, he's the safer bet because of his style and because he break guys up. He do. But Spence is like the guy that been through everything. So I think that's why more trainers are picking. Bud. I think more trainers and guys inside the game are picking Bud because we see him in so many different situations. You know what I mean? Spence has been in some situations, but you know what I mean. For the most part, it's him beating on somebody. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, man. And to me, the will, like I don't think people understand. You could help explain this. How much your will and your mental plays a role in that ring.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, people. The thing is, you really don't have to explain it because think about it. The average person don't even want to get in a fight, and then if they do, they get hit hard enough, they'll quit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they get hit hard enough, they'll run. You know what I mean? Something. They won't stand there and say, "Damn, all right, that was a good shot. Come on." Like fighters are crazy. You know what I mean? When you think about it, you gotta get punched square in the face and you say, "Good shot." Like even in fights, you know what I mean? They damn, that was a good shot. All right, come on, try this. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's gonna be a great one though. It's gonna be a great fight for sure.
It is, man. That will, that will. And now I want to talk about the hot shot out of your hometown. I mean, this dude went slow motion for a second in a fight.
Yeah.
I mean, what the fuck was that?
I mean,
That was
you know,
woof.
from being in the ring. Sean, what's up, Sean? From being in the ring, you reach a level of like, I don't want to call it like, I don't know, like insanity or some shit. Like you being there so long, everything flowing, everything is going the way it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's almost like it put you in this world, like your own world.
Yeah.
So when he slowed the tape, down, I think he just realized, all right, I got total control of this guy. You know what I mean? I got him doing everything I want him to do. You know what I mean? He moving how I want him to move. I know when he's going to move. Let me go ahead and pull this shit off. I think he just was running off of a high, like he was feeling good in there. You know what I mean? He just came out that way.
He was definitely feeling himself, absolutely, and he had every right to because
Yeah.
and at first I was like, that guy kind of reminded me slightly of Maidana. I don't know why, but he did.
Yeah.
But so I was a little concerned for Boots,
Yeah.
just like because I'm a fan of Boots. I want him to keep winning. So,
Right.
but you saw pretty soon into that fight that like there was the class difference was big.
And it really, to be honest, everybody was looking at the trickery and the special effects, but really was just the jab, bro. He was beating him off his jab.
Is that what you?
I mean,
That's what you saw. The jab did it.
if you really watch the jab, he paced himself behind his jab. He slowed the man down with his jab. You know what I mean? And then once he picked up his time, and that's when you start seeing all the special shit. But it was really the jab setting everything up.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, his like I didn't realize how defensively sound he is. I didn't realize that he had that footwork to kind of he would do those jab steps and be able to spin.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably seen all of that, right, in person.
Yeah.
But,
Here's the thing, though. A lot of people in the gym, a lot of guys in the gym, they are afraid to express themselves. So you get these basic styles, but then once in a while you get a fighter who will try anything. And Boots is one of them guys. Like he like to try stuff. He like to work on stuff. You know what I mean? So if you show him something, if I'm talking about you, if you show Boots something and he like it, he'll go home and try it and try it and try it and try it until it's right. You know what I mean? Or he feel like it's right. You know what I mean? So when you see shit like that, that's shit that he just do not because he just having fun and he playing around. It's shit that he really work on.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
and
it's just.
You think that right now do you think he could beat Spence or Crawford right now?
Here's the thing, right? Everybody keeps saying Boots not fighting nobody, right? But if every time he fight, he win every round or he win like he just did, who are the somebodies? So he have to fight Spence or Bud, right? But here's the thing. I feel like if he beat them guys, then it's gonna be like, oh, they was too old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I don't even want to see him in there with them right now. Now that I'm thinking about it, but if he did fight them, he has. What I'm saying is he has the tools and the mindset and the know-how and the work ethic to beat those guys. I just never seen him on that level, but I believe he can because he has what it takes. He has everything that you need as a fighter.
Have you seen him spar any like world champions or anything like that?
I think the most notable I seen him spar probably, I don't know, man. It's been so many times I seen him in that ring. I don't know. He been in there with so many people, man. I don't know.
You can't think of anybody specifically.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's like he should fight Virgil Ortiz. That'd be a good next one, right?
Yeah, but Virgil can't make 47.
Is that what happened just now? I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Something up with his body. I think he's trying to get too low.
Oh, I thought he had an infection. I didn't really pay attention to what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is neither. To be honest, I'm tired of hearing about him and Stanionis because I think the game is doing Stanionis wrong, waiting on this guy.
So maybe Stanionis could fight Boots next.
That would be a perfect fight. I would love that fight.
And then Thurman, I don't even know if that's. I talked to Thurman today, actually, but he didn't want to tell me.
They saying Thurman and Ugas is in August or September or some shit. So.
Yeah, I talked to Thurman today, and I don't think it's signed yet. So they didn't tell me. They were like, we got something, but we got to wait. And I'm like, all right. Because Thurman is still dangerous. I don't care what people say.
Thurman. People don't want to respect Thurman, but you have to respect Thurman. He's only lost to Pacquiao, who's a Hall of Fame fighter. And Thurman, he knows the elite level. He knows what it's like to be top 3. So you can't like treat him like he's not shit. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Thurman got to come on. He got to get it going because he can get stale too.
Yeah, I mean he's had a lot of inactivity, but don't you think that at a certain point inactivity is actually somewhat good for the body and resting?
Yeah, I think if you the type of guy who's pushed your body for as long as a lot of these guys have, yeah, inactivity is good, but then what happens is with the business of boxing, people start to forget about you. So when you come back, they try to act like you're not worth what you once was. Yeah,
but boxing is a real. Can you think of another sport that's more critical on its players than boxing?
There is not. There is not.
Why do you think that is?
Because Mayweather once Mayweather put it out there that you have to be perfect, a lot of these guys, they want to be perfect now. So because they want to be perfect, and Mayweather was the perfect example of being perfect, then you have to be undefeated. You got to be wearing big chains. You got to be driving the best cars. You got to be around the prettiest girls, so-called the prettiest girls anyway. But you know what I mean? You got to be living a lavish lifestyle. You know what I mean? So if you're not doing that, you ain't doing shit.
It's funny. I was thinking about this the other day, and there's been about 4, I think, undefeated champions in the past, whatever it's been. You got Rocky Marciano, Ricardo
Right.
Lopez, Joe Calzaghe, and Andre Ward, right? And none of those guys even touched well, maybe Rocky, but touched the fame level of Mayweather, and that's probably because of what he did outside the ring, right?
Yeah, well, Mayweather, you got to understand, Mayweather is not just a fighter. He's a talented person. He's an act. You know what I mean? Not many fighters can go on Dancing with the Stars and dance. You know what I mean? Different styles of music, like to different styles of music and different styles of dancing. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can get on wrestling and convince people that he really fought the Big Show. You know what I'm saying? It's things like that. Some people can't act that well. You know what I mean? So Mayweather, he touched a different, you know what I mean, a different star. He really went up in the stratosphere and touched the star. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah, man. I never really thought of it that way. I guess yeah, he did. He's a good performer. I mean, he created the whole money because people forget. Pretty Boy Floyd was a bad boy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
power. He was knocking people out. He was stopping.
yeah.
He wasn't safe. But Money Mayweather was a character that he created.
And then people have to understand the guys you watching now, the guys you talking about now. When Floyd was Pretty Boy Floyd, those guys was in Pampers. A lot of these guys was in
Yeah,
Pampers, and
yeah,
some of them wasn't born. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, like if you think about it, Devin Haney was born in what 1999, 2000. So he was a pure baby. Like you know what I'm saying? He really don't understand. I mean, I'm pretty sure he went back and watched some tape, but
Yeah.
they don't look at it. They don't look at it like that.
No, that's true. That's true. Um, yeah, man. I guess that being undefeated, there's a lot of weight placed on that,
Yeah.
and but you know better than anybody. Like as a fighter, losing sometimes it makes you better.
Yeah, I mean, it exposes what your training efforts was really like. Like, what did you really put it all in? Did you really, you know what I mean, live the way you were supposed to live outside of the gym? And honestly, it could just be that guy had your number. You know what I mean? Because one thing people don't understand about boxing, part of making your way to a championship is picking the right fights. You know what I mean? The matchmakers have a great deal with that, and at the same time, your team have a great deal with that. If they say no and you say yeah because you're a fighter, sometimes you got to listen to your team. Now, sometimes the team got to listen to you. If you say no, I can beat him. I know I can beat him. You know what I mean? Then all right, let's do it. But there's been plenty of matchups that haven't been made because guys was like not yet, and then something happens. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, matching's important, and the problem with boxing is you get all this he's ducking, this duck talk, which I hate. He's scared. I hate when people say that a fighter's scared of another fighter because you know better than anybody. Like if you're in this business,
Yeah.
you're not scared of anybody ever.
No.
It's so stupid.
I mean, when they don't understand like the nature of boxing when you coming up is that you want to be the best. So in order to be the best, you have to beat those guys. You know what I mean? So when you go to these tournaments, you can't pick where you get drawn. Like, you know what I mean? If you're the number 8 seed and you got to fight the number 2 or number 1, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? You got to go out there and do what you got to do. But what happens is when they turn pro, you do have to move strategically, and people don't understand that, and they like, yo, he ducking, but it's not really that. It's probably a team of like 12 people that's like agreeing and disagreeing on this fight. You know what I mean? And if it's 7-5, you got to be like, all right, fuck it,
Yeah.
man, we ain't gonna fight.
Yeah, and like there's also a certain point in a career where you've earned your right to make smart business decisions in the ring. You know what I mean? Like Keith Thurman, for example. If I was Keith Thurman, I would stay the fuck away from Boots at all costs because that's a lose-lose for him.
Right.
You know, he's earned the right to not deal with the Boots and go and try and get a title.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But he got to get to it. He got to fight somebody.
somebody,
to
right?
keep his name alive. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. But like, I mean, and then there's also like, what do you think about, you heard Tyson Fury, who he's fighting?
Yeah, they said he fighting an MMA fighter, the African boy. I forgot
Yeah,
his name. Yeah,
it's signed. I think it's like
yeah,
it's done.
yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, Tyson Fury got a lot of shit going on outside of boxing that people don't understand, and you know what I mean. He gotta make his bread, and I mean, Mayweather did it with Conor McGregor, so here we
But
go.
Mayweather was retired. This is a fighter in his prime, holding the
True.
belts, doing this.
I mean, I don't know. It's a money grab, I guess.
Yeah. I'm not criticizing it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but it was surprising. I was like, wait, what? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It
that
is.
did. It
It's
came
a
out of
lot to
nowhere.
lose. I think it's a lot to lose for Fury,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, because he can't go in there and look bad. If he go in there and look bad, then it can look bad on his career for sure.
He has to look spectacular
Yeah,
from
yeah.
start to
And then
finish.
he is getting in there with a monster. That guy not sweet.
I don't know much about that guy,
Yeah.
but I mean, he can't box,
I mean,
right?
MMA boy, but he a monster. You know what I mean? That's like a guy you gotta kill.
I do know this. I do know that I give this guy zero chance because he's never. Not. I think Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight around right now, but also this dude has never really been in a professional boxing match, not even in an amateur boxing match.
True.
So
But
how?
this is what we saying. People don't understand, and they're not ready for when you get to the business side. They're getting to the point where, all right, fuck these fights. Where can we go to make some money? You know what I mean? It's getting like that. So Tyson Fury is a big draw, and I mean he's a giant, and he can fight. And it's like, all right. And then if you be honest, though, Tyson Fury really doesn't have a partner because he beat Deontay Wilder. What's his name? Joshua had a hard time with Ruiz. He had to get his belt back. Then once he got it back, you know what I mean? Now they trying to lock him and Wilder for December. So it's like everybody got a partner except Fury. So Fury probably just like, all right, well, let me do this just to make some money and stay busy.
He should have had the partner in Usyk, but both of them took like I don't want to see Usyk fight Dubois. I don't want to see
Yeah,
that, and
yeah,
and I don't want to see Joshua fight who's he fighting? Dylan White, right?
yeah.
I mean, I don't want. Do you want to see those fights? Because I don't want to see them.
Of course not. You know what I mean? They should have made, like you said, Fury and Usyk. But I don't know, man. You just never know with this game.
You don't. You don't. But the one thing I like about the lightweight division is those guys are all fighting each other. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, they leaning towards it, but we still don't know because Shakur is basically trying to get Devin Haney. Devin Haney trying to go to 40. Tank gonna come home. We don't know what he gonna do. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah, and T.O. You still got T.O. who I think will come back soon.
Yeah, I think T.O. gonna come back for sure.
And do you think T.O. could beat all those guys, or at least everybody except Tank?
T.O. got a shot at all of them because he can fight and he is strong, but that's a different class of boxing too. I mean, you just never know. And then you still got Subriel Matias at 140 and guys like that. So it's 140 is tricky. 35 and 40 is tricky.
It is. It is. I mean, you got like I can't think of the last time there was so much talent in one division or whatever, two divisions.
Yeah,
Um, Shakur, T.O., Tank, Haney. Who am I missing? Regis. That counts, right?
yeah. You got Regis. Yeah,
I mean,
Subriel.
and
You got Subriel Matias. You got Richard Hitchinson. You know what I mean? Guys like that.
there's also another. Is Frank Martin? No, he's lighter, right?
Frank Martin at 35. He in
35.
there too.
So he'll be in the picture real soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he fighting this weekend.
Who's he fighting?
He fighting an Olympian. I forgot his name. It's hard to pronounce his name.
You know who? Did you see? This is my boy. I've talked to him before. Kid Austin Schofield. Did
Yeah,
you see him fight? What do you think
yeah.
of him?
I think Kid Austin is okay. I think his dad should let Ronnie Shields really take over with his training side of his career. Every time I see him fight, he fighting a smaller guy, so it's hard to gauge him. And then I mean, he talks about fighting guys like Keyshawn and stuff like that, but I don't think he can run with a Keyshawn.
No.
No.
Hmm. I mean, I was impressed. Now, granted, he's fighting who he's fighting, but I was pretty impressed with his skill. Kid Austin and his speed and his power and everything he had and his will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was
I
pretty
mean,
impressed.
he a tough kid. I don't want to take nothing from him. He definitely a tough kid. I just think if you put guys like Keyshawn, Frank Martin, guys like that in front of him, they too live for him.
Interesting.
I think they too.
I mean,
He not getting.
Keyshawn, huh?
I say he really, to me, he not really getting no good work over there at Golden Boy. I'm talking about these matchups, and then you got to look at it too. Keyshawn and them guys, they all they're not close, but they run in circles around other great fighters. I'm not saying you got to surround yourself with great fighters, but I'm saying is when you get to see certain things, you educate yourself. You know what I mean, Schofield, I don't know who he's around. I don't know what he's watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And the guys that are around them, they're bigger guys. They're super middleweights and you know what I mean, junior middleweight stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't
just,
know.
I guess I've learned. To me, the eye test means a lot because
Yeah.
people try and say that about Boots, like you said, he didn't fight anybody. People try to say that about Terence Crawford, he didn't fight anybody, which is
Yeah.
insane. So I just look at Kid Austin, and he definitely needs a little more experience, and also for me to fully get a full opinion. But he looks pretty impressive. All the tools he has.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good, strong kid, but I just think. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been working on some things, but I just think he's not ready for them type of guys.
Yeah, and I mean, Rolly, even though
Yeah. Rolly
Rolly
too.
is in the conversation, but is he? I don't
I
know.
mean, he got a title. I mean, they kind of robbed the guy to give it to him, but you know what I mean? Rolly, I think Rolly is just always going to be mentioned because of the entertainment factor. You know what I mean? He funny. He funny at the end of
He
the
is
day.
funny.
Yeah.
No, he is funny. He's a perfect example. Like, he didn't really have a huge amateur pedigree, right?
No, I don't think he had a deep one. He been in some tournaments and stuff like that.
Right. So he's a perfect example of getting himself in the limelight using his mouth.
Yeah, that's true.
And he could
That's true.
fight though. He could punch. He could punch hard.
No, he can punch. It's just like the elite guys, they don't go for the shit that he be doing. Like they not like when Tank was telling people that he really not that good. Yeah, he is strong. He's explosive, but you see what happened to him. You know what I mean? And then to come back in your return fight and then struggle with an old man, it was like you know what I'm saying?
That reminds me of what Errol Spence said about him. That was funny.
Yeah, real shit though. Somebody grandpa.
He goes, he's a nut. He almost lost that old man.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was. I mean, that is a whole separate conversation. But that was the worst stoppage I think I've ever seen. Even worse than Meldrick Taylor against Chavez, only because he wasn't even hitting him. Rolly was not even throwing punches, and they stopped the fight.
yeah, that was
I
ugly.
mean,
That was an ugly night for sure.
it's insane, and like it brings up so many questions. There's so many, like, why can't there be like an instant replay and then a master ref sitting on the sidelines who can overrule bullshit calls right
Yeah,
there and then?
yeah,
Something.
but I think when shit like that happens, it's not coming from the ref. Honestly, it's coming from higher ups.
Telling the ref to do it.
Yeah,
So they would just have everybody in their pocket.
real shit. I mean, you gotta people don't understand how fights get put together. When you looking for a venue and you're looking for you know a city or whatever, whoever's the commissioner of that city, you gotta take care of them first. You know what I mean? Sanctioning fees. You know what I mean? So you gotta take care of all that first. Then you gotta get them to approve certain guys that shouldn't be. Like, all right, for instance, I went to a fight in Iowa or some shit, right? And it was a kid there who couldn't pass the physical. And I'm saying that because I'm standing behind him as the doctor's asking him to do certain things, and he couldn't do it. And they let him fight anyway. But they let him fight anyway. Why? So that the guy could get the win. The other guy, the A
What kind of
side.
what kind of things wasn't he able to do?
So they asked him to stand on one leg with his arm straight out. Stand on one leg with his arm straight out. He couldn't do it. You know what I mean? They asked him to hop on one leg. He fall over every time. So therefore, his balance is not there, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what me or you would say. His balance isn't there. But they let him fight anyway, so that you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is
Wow.
these fights are paid for. We got to make them happen. So if I got to give you a few more dollars to make it happen, that's what we're gonna do. So you know what I mean? When you got little funny calls and shit like that, think about it. That guy was 41 years old, 41 years old, right? And he was getting ready to beat Rolly. what would we be saying if that guy beat Rolly? We'd be like, what the fuck? Like, what just happened? Like, Rolly's done. He's finished after that. You feel me? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I mean?
And yeah, no, and I mean, yeah, man. I mean, there was that fight, and then the Tank versus Ryan fight. If you remember, the round that Ryan went down in, they scored a 10-10. One judge.
Right.
That's literally illegal. Like illegal in terms of box. Literally illegal. You cannot do a 10-10 round when there's a knockdown. So how is that allowed to be written? Why isn't there somebody there, the commission being like, no, you can't do that?
Right.
I don't get it.
How did they? And that's what I'm saying. How did they slip? Like, how did you slip and score that a 10-10 round if he got knocked down? That's automatic 10-8.
Automatic. Worst scenario. I think if the person that gets knocked down is being is the other guy's dominating, they could do a 10-9, can't they?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they can't be an even round.
Yeah. Or maybe a 9-8 round.
Something, but it can't be even. But nobody was dominating. It was it doesn't make any sense, and nobody's accountable for any of this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, in order to get some action going, you got to go through a lot of bullshit. So it's like, man, nobody really want to go through that. You fuck around, spend your check trying to make it happen.
Right. The appeals and all. I mean, have you ever heard of any fight that's been overturned, the decision? And I mean, besides for steroid use, just like a bad call.
Not overturned for the right man to win. More so like a no contest.
But that's only been for steroid use. When has there been a no contest for anything besides PEDs?
Maybe for a bad cut I've seen. They
overturn a decision that already happened.
They didn't reach when they go back in the rule book, they didn't reach the amount of rounds they were supposed to reach for it to be scored. So therefore they overturned it to a no contest. You feel me?
Okay. And there was probably nobody involved throwing money down where somebody had to win. It was probably just a neutral fight.
Yo, some of these places, and I tell guys all the time, like, yo, watch where you go to fight, because some of these places don't have a commission. I've been to places where they actually hire somebody just to come in and play commissioner, but the guy's not a commissioner because he don't know what the fuck is going on. The person who's throwing the show, they really acting as the commissioner, but they can't do that because they the promoter. So you see them doing all the hustling and bustling that a commissioner is supposed to be doing, but it's like, I thought he was the commissioner. Like one time, I'm gonna put him on blast a little bit up in I think it was Massachusetts. It was either Massachusetts. No, it wasn't Massachusetts. It wasn't Connecticut. It was somewhere up there, not Rhode Island. It was somewhere up there.
Vermont?
Not Vermont, not that far up. Like right over top of Boston and shit, but not in Massachusetts. Is one more I'm missing?
A state?
Yeah, it's a state. Fuck.
Tri-state, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York.
It's one more I'm missing, bro. It's one of I gotta look at the map. But anyway, we get up there. This commissioner is this old ass man. I'm talking about old man. He got to the weigh-ins late, and he just sat there. He didn't have anybody sign off or anything. He didn't check the scale.
New Hampshire.
Nothing. He just New Hampshire. There you go.
Thank you.
That's where he was at. That's where we was at, bro. They didn't really have a commission.
I mean, when I was fighting, I've been to the commission here, right? And it is just 3 people, 1 commissioner, one secretary, and they handle so much other shit besides boxing because they're the athletic commission.
You talking about New York,
right? Right, in New York, right?
Yeah.
My weigh-in was in the athletic commission,
right,
downtown,
right. Like on the 17th floor or some shit.
Yeah, you've been there, right?
Yeah, I fought up there twice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've been in that same room. That's the weigh-in.
Yeah.
And these you see how it's run. Like I'm not saying it looked crooked, but it looked very there was no resources put towards it at all. Like they're an athletic commission, boxing a small piece of what they do, and they don't care.
Yeah, they just trying to get them in there.
Yeah.
And then it's like some commissions, if you peep, they'll let a guy like 15-0 fight a guy that's like 3-50. And some commissions like Philadelphia, well, in Pennsylvania, Greg Serb, he'll never let no shit like that fly.
Really?
Yeah. But then it's like funny because then again, it depends on who's promoting. Because when the big boys come to town, it feel like everything's a go.
Wow. So it's really like, because I never really was exposed to that part of it. So it's really like the movies. People just passing monies,
I
taking
mean,
care of everybody.
if you think about it back in the day, right? I'm talking about go way back, like, you know what I mean? Probably the 40s, whenever, 50s, right? They don't have all the technology. They didn't have all the technology and shit that we have now, right? So you could walk somebody to their car and change their mind. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like now, that whole shit would be on tape, or somebody would be with them, and you know that shit would be like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, I remember hearing that back when Marciano fought and Joe Louis and all this, that the mob controlled boxing.
Yeah, exactly. Because listen, think about it. If it's the mob, right? These guys are gangsters and they getting money, and you say no to something that they want to happen, yeah, you can lose your life.
Not good. Yeah, not good.
Not good at all. You feel me?
And it's gotten better, I guess. But has
It's only
it?
gotten better because of cameras and shit.
That's a
Come
good
on, man.
point.
Ain't no telling what's still going on. I mean, it's a lot of shit that go on, bro.
I
You
don't
gotta
understand.
remember the people that throw these shows, they pay for your hotel room, so we know where you're gonna be.
Right.
So if I need to come up to your room, yo, Mark, it's an extra suitcase here. You know, just don't fight too hard. You know what I mean?
Well,
Don't go out there
my
trying to impress nobody.
my one of my boys, my old podcast partner, he talked about, and he said this. He talked about it on a podcast, so I could talk about it. How he threw a fight. And I was surprised he did that because he was, but he said that he went to go fight not Brian Nielsen. Yeah, was that the Brian Nielsen? Was that the guy from Denmark?
I heard that
Brian,
name before, Nielsen.
heavyweight from the 90s. Was it Brian Nielsen? Okay, I think it was Brian Nielsen. Anyway, I remember seeing Brian Nielsen's record, and he was like 35-1, like but he never fought in the U.S. So anyway, he told me that he goes out there, and when he sits down, they give him two contracts. One has a price. The other one has a price if he wins, with a different price if he loses. And the price that he loses was about $200,000 more.
Mm.
And this was in the 90s. So that's like equivalent to like $500,000 now. And they just didn't, and he ended up signing the one that, he signed it, the second contract that had both of those stipulations, and it was up to him to choose if he wants to win or lose. And he chose to lose.
And you see how they play on your mind, they play on your stomach, they play on your situation. You know what I mean? We're not gonna threaten you, but here you go. Which one you like?
Right.
You know what I mean?
This shit wasn't a threat. This was like, because people would come to Sweden or Denmark, wherever he's from, and if you look at his record, he beat a lot of people. And knowing what you know now, if you look at the fights, you could see that, they weren't really trying. And he padded his record. The country loved him, and they pumped money out for him to build the country's name up.
Right.
Brian Nielsen is not from the UK now. He's from Sweden or something. Somebody wrote that. Sweden or Denmark. But yeah, so if that happens then, it must have happened tons of times.
Right.
Besides that.
Right. It's going to happen.
It is, and nothing we could do about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's things you could do, but how many guys you willing to stand on the game? You know what I mean, and really be that tough. I mean, it's one thing to get in the ring, but it's one thing to go get up against the powers that be. You know what I mean? It's hard to.
Right, and still the barometer for success is winning a belt.
Right.
And most of these organizations are involved with that.
Right.
So what do you do?
Right. Absolutely.
Shit. What other fighters are you working with right now?
We're getting Jesse Hart ready for August 12th, and I got some guys fighting on a local level. August 4th, and maybe the July 22nd.
You know Terence Lewis? He's a Philly guy.
Yeah, I know Terence Lewis.
Me and him were in camp together back in the day in Catskill, a long time ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
How was that? Yeah, they go KO Lewis right there.
There he goes. What up, Tay? Yeah, so I'm coming. Kevin Rooney was training us, so we were doing the bobbing and weaving shit.
Yeah.
It was, I'm 5'11", and at the time I was relatively tall for a middleweight.
Yeah.
So I feel like that style is if you're shorter works better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was fun, like, because you're thrown in there with like, the highest level of fighters right off the jump. It was wild, man. Kevin would have us sparring with no headgear, like
Mm.
just like, and and he wouldn't make you, but it would be one of those things where it's like, you could put it on. Only the pussies do it, but go ahead, that's fine. So of course, that's what he told me. That's what he told me the
You
first
talking
time.
about Kevin Rooney?
Yeah, that's what he told me. He goes, only pussies wear headgears, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So of course I'm not going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't put it on.
Yeah.
So it was wild. It was wild, and it was no like you would get in there. Everybody would get in with everybody. Didn't matter the weights, nothing.
Did you get in good shape while you was up there?
I was 15 and 16 when I went up there. I was young. So yeah, I was more just learning. I had just turned amateur not too long before that, so I was just learning.
Okay.
Being up there. Hasim Rahman was up there with us
Mm.
before people don't know that about him. And that style for him obviously is. He was back when he fought 6'3". Back then, there was no heavyweights bigger than him. He was like bigger than everybody.
Yeah.
And him bobbing and weaving and all that was just difficult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was a real fighters camp. You'd have like anywhere from 3 to 10 people living all in Kevin's house.
Right.
You know what I mean? And going to the gym every day, and it was a good experience. Yeah, I got in good shape.
Right.
Yeah, man, those were the days. So you were saying, so you got those fighters coming up. Is there any prospect? You working with anybody big? Are you in talks with anybody?
Now we having a hard time getting on the big cards. You know what I mean? But we trying. We'll see.
Right. All right. Well, man, thanks for talking to me.
Yeah, no problem.
Let you get back to your night. Let's do it again.
For sure. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, cuz.
Peace.